rust. Okay, so the reddish brown substance is known as rust. So we can carry out an experiment to investigate rusting. So in this experiment, there will be 3 test tubes. Okay, so we have test tube A, then we have test tube B, and then we have test tube C. And in all the 3 test tubes, we're going to place identical nails. Okay, so the same type of nail in each test tube. In the first test tube, we're going to place calcium chloride. So the role of the calcium chloride is to dry the air, because we know from the earlier chapter that air contains water vapor. We want to make sure that the air is dry so that there is very, very, very little water vapor. Chloride, okay, calcium chloride, it dries air. My pencil actually go out. The air. Okay, so that is the first case. In the second case, we're going to add boiled water into the test tube. And in this case, we aren't going to add any calcium chloride. There is going to be boiled water, but at the surface, we're going to add a layer of oil. And what the layer of oil does is it prevents the air from entering inside and being exposed and being in contact with the dry nail. Okay, so here we place water, and at the very top there is a layer of oil, which is to prevent air from entering. And then in the test tube, you have boiled water, okay? So there aren't going to be any air molecules inside because the oil prevents the air from entering. And in the third test tube, you have water. And at the same time, there is air inside. There's air inside, okay? So in the first case, you have no water, but you have dry air. In the second case, you have water, but you don't have air because there is oil which prevents the air from entering in. In the third case, there is air. At the same time, there is water in the test tube. So if you leave these test tubes for several days, you will see that the nail from test tube 3 will have rust. Okay, so the nail from test tube 3 will corrode, but the nail from test tube 1 and 2 will not corrode. And that is because in order for rusting to happen, it requires both oxygen and water. If there is oxygen but no water, rusting will not take place. If there is water but no oxygen, rusting will not take place. It will only take place when there is both oxygen and water that is in contact with iron or steel. Okay, so this is test tube 1. This is test tube 2. This is test tube 3. Here. Only the nail test tube 3 will rust. This is because rusting requires both oxygen and and water. So in test tube A, there is air, but there is no water. Okay, test tube A, there is air, but there is no water. Test tube B, there is water, but there is no air. test tube C, there is both water and air, and so they will only be rust. So there will only be rust in the nail from test tube 3. Okay. So there is water here. There is water here. So the chemical equation is iron Fe plus oxygen 3O2 plus water 4H2O will produce hydrated iron 3 chloride, which is known as rust. Okay. 3H2O. This is rust. Yeah, guys, please copy this down, and if you're done, let me know.
Teacher,
Yeah.
in one, if you just want air, why is there calcium chloride?
Oh, because calcium chloride's role is to make sure the air is dry so that there is no water at all. Because
Ah,
sometimes the air
okay.
can contain water vapor. Okay. Oh yeah, let me write that down. All right, so then the dot here means there are water molecules in Fe2O3. So whenever you see a dot, it basically refers to hydrated compounds. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be hydrated iron 3 oxide. The dot means hydrated. There is water in the compound. All right, so far 3 people are done. The rest of you guys, if you're done, let me know, okay? Okay. So yeah, let me just give a quick recap again, okay? So iron and steel, they can corrode when they're exposed to both oxygen and water. So when iron and steel are in very frequent contact with both oxygen and water, then they will corrode, which is known as rusting. And when there is rust, you will see this reddish brown substance. Okay, so the appearance of corroded iron or steel is going to be it's going to be reddish brown because that's the color of rust. So in order to investigate rusting, we can carry out an experiment using 3 test tubes. In the first test tube, we're just going to expose the nail to air but not water. We make sure the air is not exposed to water by adding calcium chloride, which ensures that the air is dry. That's the first case. So in the first case, the nail is exposed to air but not water. In the second case, you're going to add water into the nail, but this time you're also going to add a layer of oil, and the layer of oil prevents the air from entering inside. So in the second case, the nail is exposed to water but not to air. In the third case, however, you have both water and air, so the air is exposed to both, meaning that the nail is exposed to both, meaning that over time there is going to be rust in the nail. Okay, the nail is going to start corroding and you will see the reddish brown substance forming in the nail. And that is because it undergoes through a chemical reaction. When iron reacts with oxygen and water, it produces hydrated iron 3 oxide, which is known as rust. Okay, so if I think it's a good idea to learn this formula. All right. Okay, so after this, let's move to the next part. Okay, how to prevent rusting. So when iron or steel rusts, the appearance becomes poor, the iron or steel becomes weaker, and it gets easily destroyed. So how do we prevent rusting? Well, there are 2 ways to prevent rusting. The first way is to cover the iron either by painting, by greasing, or by galvanizing with another metal. Okay, so how to prevent rusting? The first method is to cover the iron so that it is not in direct contact with water or oxygen. Okay, so iron 고 the 어머 cover လုပ်လိုက်လို့ရှိရင် iron과 oxygen에요, water네요, directly material의အခါမှာ rusting 네မဖြစ်တော့. So 바리네 iron고 cover လုပ်လို့ရတယ်. We can cover it with paint. For example, cars, the solution, they're painted, therefore they don't easily rust. The car bodies, the solution, and they're coated with paint. You can grease them. So tools, the machines, the solution, oil, other greasy substance, the coconut coat look like the ethanol, they are not in direct contact with oxygen or air. Okay, and the next method is to galvanize with another metal, and that metal it's usually zinc. Okay, so iron ရဲ့အပေါ်မှာ zinc နဲ့အုပ်လိုက်လို့ရှိရင် only zinc will be in direct contact with oxygen and air. Iron it is not in direct contact and therefore iron will not rust. Okay, so in the case of paint ကပညာမှာသုံးလေးဆိုတော့ for example steel bridges, the car bodies, so they are usually painted to prevent rusting. As for tools and machineries, 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 they are coated with oil or grease. And for galvanizing so in roof. Okay, so roof to power solution, they're in direct contact with water, they're in direct contact with air. So at the iron roof, they rust they are galvanized with zinc. Okay, so the iron roof is galvanized with zinc. Okay, so what we do is zinc is a molten piano like that. We heat zinc up so that it becomes molten, and then we place the molten zinc on the iron roof. And so when the zinc hardens, it covers the iron, and therefore iron is no longer in contact with oxygen and water. Okay, so yeah, those are the three ways to protect rusting. Okay, you can paint the iron, you can grease the iron, or you can galvanize with another metal such as zinc. So yeah, please copy this down, and if you're done, let me know. So galvanizing is basically a fancy word for coating. Okay. To coat a metal with another metal. Nice. Okay, so I think everyone, oh wait, never mind. Not everyone has finished it, I think. So I'll wait for one more minute, okay? 3:58 Jalushi. I'll move to the next part. Okay, so now I think everyone's done. So the next way of preventing rusting is by letting another metal corrode instead. Okay, so the first method is to cover the iron either through painting or greasing or galvanizing. The next method is to let another metal corrode instead of iron. Okay, so let another metal corrode instead. So you guys need to know that when rusting takes place, when rusting takes place, iron is being oxidized. Remember oxidation is the gaining of oxygen atoms, okay? So when iron reacts with oxygen, it is taking the oxygen atom, so iron is being oxidized. Or you could say that it is losing electrons. Oxidation is definition na kushi. Oxidation is either the gain of oxygen atoms, or you could say it is the loss of electrons. Okay, both are correct. So when iron is rusting, it is basically being oxidized. Okay, so during rusting, iron is oxidized. And one thing we need to know is the more reactive the metal, okay, remember this now, the more reactive the metal, the more likely it is to lose electrons and gain oxygen atoms, okay? So the more reactive the metal, the more readily it loses electrons. You can say that the more readily it oxidizes, okay? The more readily it oxidizes. So for very reactive substances, they have a very strong drive to lose electrons and to react. So if you actually attach a magnesium bar on the side of a steel ship, okay? Let's say we have a steel ship and on the side you place a magnesium bar. So let's just, okay, this will be a low quality ship. So this ship is made up of steel, and steel is basically iron. And you're going to place a bar of magnesium on the side, okay? So you have a bar of magnesium. So what happens is magnesium is more reactive than iron, okay? Magnesium is more reactive than iron, so it has a greater tendency to lose the electrons and react with oxygen, okay? Magnesium is more reactive, so it has a greater tendency to lose electrons, and when it loses electrons and then react with oxygen, magnesium will be the one that rusts instead of iron, okay? So magnesium ga, instead of iron, it gets oxidized, and when it gets oxidized, it loses electrons, and this is the half equation that you will get, okay? So steel got corroded magnesium got dissolved in so magnesium got corroded instead of steel, and this process is known as sacrificial protection, okay? So magnesium gets dissolved instead of steel, and this is known as sacrificial protection. SACRIFICIAL. a sacrificial protection. If magnesium wasn't present, magnesium bara in magnesium asa, it would have been iron that got oxidized, and then it would be the one that rusted. Okay, 다음에 magnesium 싫어, iron got oxidized until magnesium oxidized with 다음에, and as a result, it get dissolved, and therefore it is ruined. But then the steel or iron got it remains protected. Okay, so this is known as sacrificial protection. Placing a more reactive metal near the less reactive metal so that the more reactive metal gets damaged instead of the less reactive metal, such as iron. All right. All right. So yeah, please copy this down, and if you're done, let me know. And excuse me for a moment, okay? I want to go grab a hair tie. All right, I'm back, and I think almost everyone, or if not everyone, has finished copying Henry Vinzidate MKK. All right, everyone has finished copying, and that is the end of this chapter. I mean, this subtopic. Okay, so this subtopic mod basically it talks about roasting, what roasting is, and the reaction for the chemical reaction for rusting, and secondly it talks about how to prevent rusting. There are two methods. First method is to cover iron by painting, greasing, or by coating it with another metal. And the second method is to let the other metal corrode instead. And this is done by the process sacrificial protection, where you place a more reactive metal on the surface of the less reactive metal so that the more reactive metal gets oxidized and therefore it dissolves instead of the less reactive metal. Okay. All right, so now I will give you some questions related to this. Okay, so the plan got this is chapter 15. Today we looked at 15.4. Tomorrow we will look at 15.5, and then that's the end of chapter 15. Jenna, I think chapter 16, 17, 18, 3 chapters. So today at 15.4 BY, so I'll give you guys the chapter related questions, the textbook questions. And after that, I'll give you guys the Edexcel past paper questions. Okay, so that you guys got kuria sabi got Edexcel net familiar piano. Tomorrow, the same thing. Okay, we will look at 15.5 textbook questions, and then we will start looking at Edexcel questions. So I will send the questions on Messenger. Okay, so please check your Messenger. All right, so I have just sent the questions. I want you guys to do basically everything. Okay, 1, 2, 6. All right, Duda, I'll check your answer now. The first one is correct. Second one's correct. Okay, you skipped the third one. For the fourth one, guys. Okay, the fourth one's correct. The fifth one's correct. Sixth one's correct. 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 All right, great work. Okay, I'll explain 3 in a bit, but the rest are all correct. Okay, so okay, the first one's correct, second one's correct. Okay. Correct. Correct. 6. Oh, okay. Okay, they're all correct, okay? For 3, I will explain in more detail in a bit, but the rest are all fine. So yeah, for 4, iron that is tin plated does not rust. Why not? It's because when iron is tin plated, it is tin that will get dissolved instead of iron. Iron that it is not exposed to oxygen or water anymore because it is being shielded by tin. Okay, so tin will be the one that gets rusted instead of iron. Okay, the rest are all correct. And then the next person, Henry. Correct. All right, Henry, they're all correct. Great work. So I think only 2 people left today now, so I'll wait a bit. Okay, so for Tria, I will just draw the setup. So for Tria, the answer varies. So it's asking you how if you can think of a way to prove that it is oxygen in air, not nitrogen, that causes rusting. So let me just draw a setup. Okay. So let's say you have a beaker, a big beaker, and then you have some water. And what you could do is you could place a water plant. Okay, you could place a water plant. And then add a stopper, but obviously make sure that there are like some holes in the stopper so that air can enter in. And then you place your iron nail. Okay, so the plant guy, it will carry out photosynthesis, and at the same time, it will also carry out, wait, instead of this, maybe I could use, let's say, a beetle, okay? A beetle or a bug. It could be anything. I don't know how to draw a bug, so let's just assume this is a bug, okay? So the bug, it carries out respiration. But now it carries out respiration. So when it carries out respiration, it needs oxygen. So you place a bug in the test tube. Okay, this doesn't look okay. I'm in a beaker, and what the bug is gonna do is the bug is going to respire, and as the bug respires, it's going to take in oxygen. Okay, so bug respires like oxygenate, go absorb over time, oxygen the bug is going to die because there is a lack of oxygen, and so it cannot carry out respiration anymore. So any oxygen you can start observing the nail. Nail got rust oxygen obviously you're going to add some water. You're going to place some water. Oxygen the nail isn't going to rust because in order for the nail to rust, it needs oxygen. Okay, so that is one thing. And if you're looking at it from a biological aspect, so maybe instead of a bug, you could use a water bug or just a marine animal, a small one. Okay, so you have your water, and then you have your marine animal, and then you have your nail. Okay, so the marine animal is going to carry out respiration. As it carries out respiration, it's going to suck up all the oxygen, and over time, when there is not enough oxygen, when all the oxygen gets used up, the marine animal is going to die. So now in the test tube, there is no oxygen anymore, but there is water inside. So you see whether the nail will rust or not. The nail that rust mapilushe, you know for sure that oxygen machilu, the nail got rust mapil. Nitrogen shishi, it doesn't matter. Oxygen machilu shen, nail got rust pimam ho, shilu shen, it doesn't matter. Oxygen yo, shi yo, shima, the nail will rust. Ye shi be your oxygen machilu shen, it will not rust. That's one way, biological way. Another way that what you could do is you could use a compound that will absorb the oxygen. So you guys need to know that in order to absorb carbon dioxide, okay, carbon dioxide will absorb global solution. You use compounds like soda lime, don't it? Soda lime got carbon dioxide, go absorb the water. So oxygen will absorb the compound. There is a special compound, and that is known as PYROGALLOL. I don't even know how to pronounce this, okay? So there is this compound that absorbs all the oxygen from the air. So what you could do is you have your nail, and then you have water, And then you could add, a few drops of this compound. And if you add a few drops of this compound, it's going to suck up all the oxygen. So air ထဲမှာပါပဲကျန်တော့မယ်ဆို nitrogen တို့ argon တို့ helium တို့အဲ့လိုမျိုး small proportion လေးကျန်မယ် nitrogen ကတော့အဓိကကျန်မယ်ပေါ့ and then once again you observe whether you'll see any rust in the nail, but then oxygen နဲ့အကုန် absorb လိုက်တော့ you will not see any rusting taking place. Okay, so you could add PYROGALLOL, which is an alkaline solution that absorbs oxygen. Or the next method is a marine rock into water as it respires with uses of oxygen. When it dies, this means oxygen is no longer present. အခု oxygen ဒီ bug ကတည်သွားပြီ oxygen လုံးဝမရှိတော့တဲ့အခါမှာ you're going to place your nail. Okay, then place the nail and observe whether rusting takes place. Okay, so those are the two methods that I thought of. Obviously, there are going to be a lot more, but then I don't think there are going to be questions like this in the exam, so you don't have to worry. The easiest thing to say is add a chemical compound that absorbs oxygen. You don't need to know the name. You just need to say that, you just need to say that you should add a compound which absorbs oxygen. Okay, you don't have to specifically say the name. And I think that should be fine. So, all right, then I'll check your answer. Now for the others, we have about 30 minutes left, so I'll send a sample Excel paper, okay? Any paper, I will pick some random questions for you to answer. To be sure, MKK, Mintuda, are you doing Excel or CIE?
I'm doing CIE.
Okay, you're doing CIE, but all right, if you're doing CIE, good for you. What I'll do is I'll just give Excel papers for today, but hopefully there are gonna be lots of similarities, or I think you'll be able to answer it. Okay, next class solution, I'll maybe give some CIE questions, some Excel questions, but both of them I'm assuming will be similar, so hopefully you guys will not have any issues with answering the questions. So yeah, just give me one moment now. Question let me. Also, guys, I was thinking now is like a good time to start having, a platform where I can give you guys past paper questions so that there is like a collection of questions which you can later use for revision. Aqua the messenger class share, messages share, questions share. It's all very not organized. So do you want me to set up a Discord server, or do you want me to set up another messenger group where I only send past paper questions so that revision လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာ questions တွေအကုန်လုံးတစ်စုတစ်စီတနေရာထဲဖြစ်အောင်လို့ Which one do you prefer? Messenger group or Discord server? Okay, let me know in the chat. Okay, so 3 votes for Discord server. All right, we only have, I guess, 5 or 6 people, so I'll set up a Discord server then, okay? And in that server, I will, send past paper links and also revision notes, okay? So that you could just have a place where you can find all the questions. So if that's the case, can you all maybe send me your ID, okay? So that I can add you all there. အခုကတော့ link ကတော့ Messenger မှာပဲပို့ပေးလိုက်မယ်နော် future ကြလို့ရှိရင်တော့ I will send all the questions there. Okay. So this is the link for the past paper question, and I want you guys to go into that link and answer the first question, I guess. Oh, all right, Henry, I see. No worries. So I've sent you the link now. Anytime, I want you guys to try answering question 1 and question 2. Okay, 1 and 2 PG manner. You can open the link. Okay, no worries. I will just send a screenshot of the questions. Megan, the questions from the link, the pictures that I sent are the questions from the link, okay? So you can just look at the pictures. Earlier, Thin said she couldn't open the link. That's why I took a screenshot of the questions from the link, okay? All right, so I think some people have sent me the answer, so I'll check it for you guys now. Right, so yeah, the first one got everything correct. Great work. For the second one, yep, correct. 2A part 1 Mane, part 2 Mane. Yeah, I want you to check part 3 again, okay? 2A part 3 the second Mane, B part 4 got Mane. And I mean 2B Mane, okay? So 2A part 3 by the second Mane. And now Henry. Okay, the first one, everything correct? All right, Henry, all your answers are correct. Great work. So for Henry and Yin, because you guys are done with, oh wait, yeah, 2A part 2 to set up into you right now. For Henry, yeah, because you're done with 1 and 2, I want you to continue with 3. For 3, I guess you can do all the questions. Okay, so continue with number 3. I'll also take a
Teacher, can you send the screenshots? Because I
Okay.
can't open it there.
Okay, no worries. Yes, Yin, your answer is correct now. So Yin, you can try question number 3, okay? Oh shoot, I sent the questions individually. I was supposed to send it to the group. Okay, I'll send the questions to the group. And then let's see. First one got Akomene. So then I want you to check 2A part 3 again, okay? 2A part 3 to check the answer. Bây giờ tất cả the của I mean 2B sorry, yeah, then no? You just have to continue solving it, okay? So any expression calculator then thể lại rồi. So yeah, 2A part 3 survey. Okay. That's it. Also, if anyone is struggling, let me know, okay? Yes, then your answer is now correct. All right, then your answer is correct, okay? And by the way, Henry, for some reason, I cannot invite you to the server. So what I will do is I will send the server link to the group, okay? So please please click the link and join the server so that you can see all the questions in one place. I think it's this one, hopefully. Oh yeah. And in the future, whenever I see, relevant questions that'll be useful for you, I'll just post them there, okay? Also, guys, if you need practice with a particular topic, just let me know, okay? I'll send the question. I'll send the questions there. All right, again, I'm checking your answer. Again, I want you to try beaker part again, okay? Beaker is not B. And then again, I want you to check part 3 again. 2A part 3. 2A part 3, and the rest got all correct, okay? All right, then the first one is correct. A1 too many. Bra. Biga. Yup, correct. Okay, then all your answers are correct. Wait, wait. Okay, so Mentuta and Henry, are you guys doing okay with the questions? I think it's just you guys who haven't sent the answers yet. Okay, if you need help, let me know, okay? And hopefully try to send me the answer for the first two questions before class ends, okay? So the first two questions. Question 1 and question 2, okay? Try to send it to me before class ends. Okay, so for that, you have finished the next question. So let's see if there's any more you can do. All right, then maybe you can try for A and B, okay? It's pretty straightforward. I'll send you the picture individually, okay? And then, Linda, I'll check your answer in a minute.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, so for 3 agave, it is a reaction where the compound breaks down. Oh wait, she got disconnected, never mind. Okay, so that your first part of the answer na. Yes, ako man no, that number 1 is correct. Okay, Yin, so I was just saying for the Compagnie reaction, it is actually thermal decomposition, okay? Because the compound it breaks down into smaller molecules. So the first reaction it's thermal decomposition. You can also say it's endothermic because thermal decomposition reactions are endothermic. So endothermic I think the question the question answer it's thermal decomposition. Okay. Oh yeah, more skin came out of the guitar. It says thermal decomposition. It writes down ignore endothermic. Okay, so I guess you better just write thermal decomposition instead of endothermic. Okay, yeah, so ignore looking at it. The second part it's correct. And the third part it's correct. Yep. And the fourth part it's correct. Okay, so yeah. All right, so we only have 2 more minutes left. Henry, I'll quickly check your answer now. Okay, correct. Those 2 are also correct. Is there more being sent or အခုဒီအထိပဲပြီးသေးရလား
I'm only 10 till that.
What did you say?
I'm only done till that.
Oh, all right, got it. So yeah, no worries if you haven't finished the next part yet. So it's almost 5 already. Henry, yeah, try to finish 1 and 2, okay, for today. So that'll be the homework for you guys because I think everyone else has finished 1 and 2. So you guys need to wait right now, okay? So yeah, that will be it for today. Tomorrow we will continue finishing chapter 15 and then continue with the past paper questions, okay? So yeah, bye guys, have a good day and see you tomorrow then, okay?
Bye-bye, Sha.
All right, okay, then I'll quickly check your answer then. Thermic, okay. A, that is correct. Yes, then your answers are correct. Okay, great work. Bye-bye.
Bye, Sha.